Okay, so I was almost out the door to go on an overnighter. I mean, it's getting late. I gotta go. And then all of a sudden, I guess while I was home, they dropped off my hotbed. So I've got my Mountain Hardwear Spark 30. It's like a Spark 30 or something in there. It's not the hotbed 32. There's a Spark 32 that's like red. I've got the famous yellow Spark with the zipper down the front. But it's getting kind of cold and it's kind of big. You can see how big it is. It's just kind of bulbous. It's kind of like almost watermelon sized. I kind of want something a little bit, that's kind of like a honeydew. If you're familiar with a honeydew melon, I want something a little bit smaller. Now, right away you can see that the hotbed 42, which I just ordered, this is going to be nice and toasty and warm while it's new. It's a little bit bigger. Let's pull it out of the box. Right away, first impression is that the hotbed 42 feels a little heavier than the Spark, the yellow 30 Spark that I've got. So one is a 32, the Spark's the 32, this is the 42. This is not as warm as that. So this is a 50 bag, that's a 40 bag. Let's pull it out and see what's going on here. So there it is. No stuff sack. Okay, 85 bucks on sale, Columbus Day. There's my Spark. There's the hotbed. Basically with the hotbed, you're getting a thicker, more robust nylon that's going to keep you warmer. To be honest with you, I've been kind of cold in my Spark, and that hotbed is it's got thicker nylon, which is a little bit warmer. Okay, so just to put the idea out there for you, the Spark is a lot more expensive. It's actually double the price. So 85 on sale for the hotbed 42, and 150 on sale for the Spark, which is like a 30. The Spark is kind of cold though, and the hotbed is more popular. It's warmer and cheaper. But the nylon on that Spark, even though it's not very warm, it is very cozy and comfortable. And you can kind of see the difference in length. They're both the long version, and the Spark is obviously a little bit longer. All right, now I'm gonna put the hotbed into the Spark stuff sack and see how that does. Okay, so when I held the two sleeping bags in my hand at the same time, the weight was very, very similar. I think that the hotbed is like just a few ounces heavier, and it also compresses down just slightly smaller. So, you know, the amount of space that I'm saving in my pack is very, very minimal. But I've got a funny feeling that these hotbeds are warmer than the Spark. I've had a lot of issues with being cold. So I'm excited to test out this hotbed for the first time. It does come with a stuff sack that was hiding in the hood, but it's not a compression sack. But with the Spark's compression sack, you can clearly see that it compressed almost all the way down to nothing. See? This is pulled almost all the way down, so is this. That's compressed a little bit smaller than the Spark. So, and it's got that thicker, more robust nylon on it. And I'm pretty excited to give it a shot. I'm going to take it out tonight and sleep in it and see what happens. So yeah, here I am at my campsite. Okay, can't really see it, but anyway, my pack felt really light while I was hiking up here. It's not as cold where I am on top of the mountain as it is down at the beach. Right at the end of the hike, it did seem kind of evident there was something in my pack that was a little bit heavy. Not the Ultimate NUL. It is lightweight. I would say, I guess it's considered like lightweight, not ultralight. And the foot box, like when I lift up the foot box, you know, it does have some weight to it. It doesn't feel like my other Mountain Hardwear sleeping bag. The Spark that I have is like very, very light. This one doesn't really feel like that. It's not so light. But it wasn't difficult to carry up here. It was really light. right at the end, I noticed while I was standing around looking at my campsite, I suddenly felt something on my back, and I thought, there's something in my backpack I need to, it didn't feel completely lightweight. Anyway, it looks warm. I'm about to get in it and find out what's going on. I can't really give this 50 bag a fair review because I was so cold last night. Ultimately, obviously a 50 bag is a summer bag. And I think that the Spark 30 and the Hotbed 40 are both 2-season bags. There's a number of things that didn't work for me last night. For instance, having a 3/4 torso air pad with my foot box on the ground with a lot of rocks around. That definitely didn't work. I ended up pulling the hood completely closed, and I turned the sleeping bag over so that none of my heat was escaping through the hood. And I put on all my clothes. I put on my jacket, my pants, my socks, shirt, everything. I was still cold. But it's cold out. So California's had some weird weather recently. We had a hot weekend, and then we had a terrible fire, and then the temperature dropped drastically. And, right now it feels like I'm in Lake Tahoe. I mean, I feel like I'm waking up in a pretty cold morning in Lake Tahoe. It's cold. I don't even know if I can go down to the beach to eat breakfast. I might just have to pack it in and go home. But anyway, it's cold out, okay? But that's an issue. If you want to live outside, if you want to live in your sleeping bag, I think maybe the 20 bag is a safer bet. It's more fun to be hot than it is to be cold. I think that the Q-Core polyester insulation inside of the Mountain Hardwear, it breathes really well. So that's one of the advantages and disadvantages. One of the reasons it isn't really warm is because of how breathable it is. But you can really get inside of there without suffocating because of how breathable it is. I think that inside, if you try to sleep in the sleeping bag in a bed inside of a room, it suffers condensation and it gets really wet because of how breathable the Q-Core is. When you're outside, the breeze is drying off the sleeping bag. So it's really intended for sleeping outside. The breathability prevents it from suffering from condensation, but it also prevents it from really getting warm. It's a really, really technologically advanced sleeping bag. It's just that warmth isn't necessarily one of its strong points. I think that a 20 bag probably is a safer bet. So yeah, the temperature is quickly going up in the sun. But anyway. There's some head-high barrels over there. Okay, so the Hotbed 42, which is like Mountain Hardwear's synthetic 50 bag. Awesome summer bag, awesome spring bag. Last night we had some, there's inclement wet weather, cold snaps, weird things when it gets cold, down to below 50, somewhere around 40 or something. Mountain Hardwear is really generous with their temperature rating for the sleeping bags. Basically what that temperature rating is that's how cold it can get in order to be in it without catching a cold. So in the morning, I hadn't really slept well and I had been really cold. My feet had been feeling like ice. But it's a 42 bag and it probably was 42. Thanks, man. Gracias. So, basically the polyester synthetic Q-Core insulation, it breathes really well. It doesn't really suffer from condensation when you're outdoors, when you're cowboy camping, because the breeze can really blow the moisture off of the bag. I found that when I sleep in it in my bed, it gets too hot and it gets really wet inside because it's stagnant air, there's no ventilation, and it suffers from condensation under those situations. But you can see how small it is, and just be aware that if you want to go cold, if you want to live in it year round, if you're living somewhere where it doesn't snow, I think maybe like the 0 bag or the 20 bag is a better choice, because, you know, like with the Spark, it has a zipper down the front. You can always open it up when it gets too warm, and then right before you fall asleep, just zip it closed. And you know, but you got to think about it. It's gonna compress down to a little bit bigger than this, so you'll need a cool day pack to hide it in if you don't want people to know. You know, if you're trying to go stealthy, you don't want people to know that you're cowboy camping. You know, the Luzon 18 is a good choice, although the colors can be kind of hideous on a lot of the packs. But supposedly Patagonia is making some good day packs, like the black hole packs and what have you, so you could hide it in there. But yeah, I'm thinking of going with a 0 bag or a 20 bag, because I've been really cold recently. I started sleeping in the Mountain Hardwear in February, and for some reason I had a lot of luck with it. I would think I was cold twice when I first started camping, and then, you know, and now I've been cold for about 3 nights in a row. I've had some weird experiences. Maybe I used the bag 20 times, and 5 of those times I was really cold. So I'm interested in going a little bit bigger, getting something with a little bit more insulation, maybe some kind of waterproof down, something like that.